No, I actually don't know really anything about that, to be honest.
Not really. Like, you don't actively search for non-GMO food.
Honestly, I don't know too much about GMOs, so I don't know if I avoid them or don't avoid them.
It's a genetically modified organism?
I mean, I've heard of it, but nobody's ever like explained it to me.
Genetically modified something?
I don't buy a lot of meat or eat a lot of meat. It's like grass, which I guess some people argue makes the food taste different. Like Kobe beef, I think, is grass-fed.
That's right. I mean, I've kind of heard something about it, but I really only know more about like chickens and them being like free range and things like that. So I don't really know too much.
I always thought like grass-fed beef is like better because something about the cows and how they digest the grass versus like grains.
I mean, I feel like I'm a big animal lover, so I'm like, if it's gonna help that animal out, I'm like, yeah, go for it. And I mean, me, I'm not a vegetarian, so like I do eat meat and things like that, and I've heard that there's concerns about it being in our foods and what it'll do to our bodies, but if it's not putting any harm to me, I say 100% go for it.
What I understand, a lot of times antibiotics are given to animals in bulk because they live in unsanitary conditions, just because of the size of the industry, like especially chickens and large cow farms and stuff like that. The problem with antibiotics is if you give it to the animal, then actually I'm not sure about this, but I think that it's in its bloodstream and you eat it, and then you have the antibiotics in your system. And having too many antibiotics in your system creates superbugs.
Maybe not. Probably because it'll end up getting into our system and making us immune to antibiotics. I seen Food Inc., so I think it's a lot. I don't know, I think it might not be as regulated as much as it should be, but I don't know the full extent.
I feel like with bigger corporations, there's usually more corruption, and there's also like a problem of trying to get food to everyone in the U.S. because a lot of people are hungry. So if there was a way to solve the hunger issue in America, that would be ideal.
Not to be rude, but kind of bores me a little bit.
As many of the consumers we have today are 3, 4, even 5 generations removed from agriculture. And I think it's important that we, who are involved in production agriculture, again, we have to be always ready to be able to discuss, explain, visit with those outside agriculture about what our products are, how they're produced, what is involved. And again, there are too many people today that if they see it on the internet, read it on the internet, then it's got to be the truth. And many of our labels, again, are there from somewhat a marketing standpoint, and nobody really understands on the outside what those labels actually mean and what the product is. Why I say this is that we've looked at the demographics of students in our Introduction to Animal Science class these past 2 semesters, 2 fall semesters. We have close to 400 students, and we have as high as 40% of our students have not been on a farm, or if they've been on a farm, it's only been because of a field trip involved with their school. And so if we have those numbers in our animal science department that don't understand production agriculture, where our food comes from, that is an indication to me that, again, if those students are in animal science and they don't understand, then what is the rest of the world like, or those people you know, in the United States that are not involved in agriculture. So it's imperative that as we, or as students move through the animal science department, that they prepare themselves to be able to not only discuss with their classmates, but those that they're come in contact with just in their everyday life, on campus, in their hometown, wherever they may be about, you know, what production agriculture is, what's involved.